Hey guys, it's Kevin Gansmeyer for Awkward Season 5, Episode 2, Short Circuit Party, and I was definitely looking forward to this episode after last week's really big episode. I was definitely looking forward to seeing how this episode was going to be, and I have to say, I thought this was actually a bit better than last week's episode. I still thought last week's episode was a great premiere, but this week's episode had a lot more going on, and it was also very, very funny. I mean, probably one of the funniest episodes of Awkward we have in a while. We've had some really funny episodes. This is definitely one of the funnier ones. But there was some genuinely really big scenes tonight, and you can definitely tell that they are trying to make this as satisfying as a possible final season as they can, which I definitely really do love. So let's just get into it. There's a lot to get into, and yeah, so basically, as we know, at the end of last week's episode, Theo and Cole had that huge prank with all the bubbles and everything, and basically we see that they're now cleaning up the damage, obviously, because it's the seniors. That's how it should go, you know, that makes sense. If the seniors do a prank that causes a lot of damage and makes a huge mess, they should probably be the ones responsible to clean it up. That's just personally how I think it should go. So they're cleaning up and everything, and I love seeing Tamara and Alyssa complain over cleaning stuff up. I thought that was very funny. Definitely, I thought that was very funny to see. You see Sadie and Tamara going back and forth on what to clean, but Sadie actually ditches Tamara because she goes with her mom, Darlene, who basically is trying to reconnect with her out to lunch, and we'll get into that. But basically, while this is going on, Jenna's trying to make the most of this. She wants to make this fun. She can see how much tension is going on between Maddie and Jake. They're just not talking to each other whatsoever. Maddie wants nothing to do with Jake. Jake feels really bad and wants to talk to Maddie, but he knows he can't, and he knows he did wrong. So it's kind of very awkward for them right now, which I definitely like seeing, I have to say. But Jenna wanting to basically lighten things up, which I can understand why she wants to. Yeah, you know, she's thinking, you know what, we only have 44 days left. I want to try to lighten things up. It ends up going horribly wrong. She tries to splash Jake because Jake splashes her. She tries to splash Jake with the water, but she ends up splashing the electricity, and all the electricity goes out, and they now have a power outage. And I can say that, again, I can probably relate to that because I have been in situations in schools where there have been power outages. Specifically in 8th grade, there was one in, like, January. It was very weird, but there was a power outage. We had to, like, come home early from school. It was very weird, and I really didn't like that. I will say I am pretty jealous of Palos Hills High School, though, because they actually have air conditioning, while my high school, on the other hand, does not have air conditioning. I don't know why, but my school is, you know, my school has enough money to buy, some really great computers, but they can't buy us air conditioning, so we're usually sweating our asses off in, like, the summer, and then freezing in the winter, because they don't have heat either, which, I don't understand this. There are certain classrooms that do, but whatever. We're not reviewing my high school, we're reviewing Awkward, so let's just get back into it. We see Val, she's talking to Jenna, and she's talking to her about what she did with the power outage and everything, and we see that Val is still living at the school. She's wearing a robe, and Jenna's really concerned about her. But then you actually see that Will is still in Val's life. He genuinely cares about her. He wants to make things right, and he wants her to come back home, but she just doesn't want to. And I think it's very interesting that Val, who's a character that really doesn't have a lot to do usually, and usually is just there for comedic reasons, is actually getting a fairly great plot. I have to say, I really like that they're giving Val stuff to do, because she doesn't usually have a lot to do, and they're actually giving her something to do. I think it's fantastic, and I really love what they're doing with Val as a character. I think that definitely is very well done. So, the power's out and everything. They have I said the whole air conditioning thing because now they're sweating because they have no air conditioning, so that really sucks. And you see Maddie, of course, he's not in a good mood. Jenna's trying to talk to him. He just doesn't want to talk to anyone at this point, which, again, is pretty understandable why that's going on. But what ends up happening is Tamara's talking to Jenna, telling her how upset she is about this and that this is really annoying for her. It was a pretty funny scene. I definitely really like seeing that. But then we see Sadie. She is now gone to lunch with Darlene. I really love the Sadie and Darlene scenes in this episode. I mean, what they're doing with Sadie and Darlene, I think is great. And we actually do get her mom's name, Darlene, in this episode, which I definitely really like seeing. Basically, Darlene, you can tell, is trying to make an effort. She wants to connect with Sadie. Sadie just doesn't want to connect with her. You know, she's trying to make some small talk, and Sadie just doesn't want to. I think Sadie, again, just, she can't really handle what her mom did to her, and I really like seeing that, and it's just not really working between them. So we going back to Jenna, basically. We see that she is basically, everyone's, basically what ends up happening is because there's no air conditioning and things like that, classrooms can't go on because there's, like, no oxygen, things like that. It's like the worst situation for them possible, and because of Jenna doing all of this, they now don't have any school, and everyone thinks that Jenna intentionally did this, and she was, like, this hero that did this, and I thought that was actually pretty funny. I definitely like seeing that. And Jenna basically gets everyone the school day off. Everyone's cheering her, thinking she's this hero. And Tamara tells her to embrace that. And I thought that was very funny. But what I loved about this, that Tamara really is only wanting Jenna to do this so that way she can be as popular too, which I think is really funny. And I definitely really enjoyed seeing that. So that was always great to see. So, Jenna and Tamara, they go home to Lacey, and they see all of these wine glasses on the table. They try to figure out, but also Jenna tells them that they're going to have a block party. They're going to have, I think she called it I don't remember what it was called, but they're having a party at the beach, and basically they're all going to go there, and it's pretty much kind of like a senior ditch day for them, but everyone gets to go because obviously school's, not happening. So I thought that was pretty funny that we saw it. I definitely enjoyed seeing that. But basically, Tamara and Jenna go home, and they see all these wine glasses on the table, and they know obviously that Lacey can't drink because she's pregnant, and I knew Lacey wouldn't be that stupid to do that, and we realize that Val is living with Lacey, and she's really not in a good position at all. She is, just living with Lacey, and her and Lacey are getting along and everything, but it's just not the right thing for Val to be doing, especially when her and Will, they're still together, and she even thinks that he's gonna pop the question, and then Tamara goes into how planning a wedding is, like, so important to her and everything. I thought that was pretty funny. We don't get much of that in this episode in terms of Tamara and Adam. We don't get much of that storyline, but again, I like seeing Val, who's a character that doesn't have a lot to do, get a lot to do. It's something I enjoyed seeing. I thought they did a good job with it, and I definitely really enjoyed seeing that. That's something I think is very good that they're doing. So basically, that's what ends up happening there. They plan on going to this party, and Lacey tells them that they should celebrate, they should go out, have fun, and not worry about Val. Jenna's kind of concerned about Val at this point, which I can understand. Val's kind of like, she's always been a friend to her, and they go to this party, and that basically is what their plan is. Now, what I like about Jenna is that the reason she's so concerned about Val is because Val is just thinking, she's thinking that she's not going to see their high school that much longer, and she wants to see Val, and I think Jenna she wants Val to get her own life. You can definitely tell she wants her to do that, and I like seeing that. So then we see Gabby talking they go to the beach, and Gabby's talking to this girl who's telling her that she probably made Jake feel really bad, and Gabby talks about how, it's kind of Jake's own fault, and I like that Gabby doesn't really feel bad for Jake, because, yeah, he did this to himself. He was the one that decided to have sex with her. They didn't, she agreed to it, but he was the one that did it, and they did it together. Jake could have backed out of it, but no, they did it. So I like that Gabby doesn't really have any sympathy for Jake, which she shouldn't. Obviously, she doesn't really want to talk to Maddie right now either, because she knows that Maddie was going to break up with her. So Gabby at this point, I like that we're seeing kind of like this side of Gabby where she doesn't give a shit. She doesn't think that, she doesn't have much sympathy for Jake. Who does, however, is Lissa. Oh my god, the Jake and Lissa scenes were so funny in this episode. Lissa is basically doing whatever she can to get Jake back on his feet and get him to feel better. It's very funny to watch, and it very much reminded me of Season 1, Jake and Lissa, when they were, like, the weirdest couple ever, where Lissa didn't want to have sex, but she still wanted to do weird stuff with Jake. It was very interesting, and I love seeing Lissa just at her ridiculous side. It's great to watch, and it's one of the best parts of the show is Jake and Lissa. I love watching it. So Jenna and Tamara, basically, they plan to find alcohol. That's basically what their main mission is, obviously, because they want to find alcohol. And they stop at this this basically like a Stop and Shop, which obviously is not really the best place to get alcohol, but Jenna thinks she knows what she's doing. And it very much reminded me of like when you go into those stores and they have like a liquor section, you shouldn't go there. Well, Jenna thinks she has this all planned out, but it ends up going horribly wrong, and I knew it wasn't going to go well for Jenna. I just knew it wasn't going to, because they're talking about, you know, Jenna makes this plan that she's married and that the liquor's for these, and that her kids are at daycare. She ends up naming a pair of jeans instead of liquor, which I thought was just hilarious. That's totally something Jenna would do. They end up getting kicked out and almost arrested, which I thought was pretty funny. And basically they basically can't get the liquor, which really sucked, and it's too bad that didn't work out for them, but they couldn't, and I thought that was pretty funny that happened. So they're out of luck now. They obviously didn't get what they wanted, and now we see Sadie, and I loved this scene with Sadie. I think this scene with Sadie probably was my favorite scene of the episode, because in my opinion, Sadie, I think, is going to end up having the best arc this season. I mean, Sadie's a character that, again, she doesn't get a lot of emotional stuff, but when she gets it, it's just so great, because one, Molly Tarloff is a fantastic actress. She's always killing on the show. Two, it really encompasses what Sadie's character really is. I mean, while she is kind of nasty at times, I like what she says to Darlene. Because Darlene, they're in the car, and again, Darlene is trying to make an effort to help out her daughter and get her what she wants. She gets her probably the best car possible. Like, it was a amazing car. It had like 5 seats. I mean, it was just paradise of a car. Like, it's probably the finest car possible, but Sadie doesn't want it. She doesn't want to show off. She doesn't want to be different. She just wants to kind of fit in, and I've always liked about Sadie, she doesn't want to be the center of attention, and I like what she says to Darlene. She says to her she appreciates that she's trying to connect with her, but she can't forgive her for what she did. She was never there for her when she needed her, and Lissa's mom was, and she really wasn't, and that's really why she can't forgive her, and that honestly does make a lot of sense. And I saw Ashley Richards actually tweeted on Twitter that we all have that, you know, you gotta, you know, the parents, sometimes things they do, it's hard to forget, you know, for their kids, it's hard to forget, and I definitely do agree. I mean, Sadie's in this situation where it is hard to forget. It's very hard for her to forget what Darlene did, and even though Darlene's trying to connect with her, I like that she's trying to connect, it's just kind of too late. I mean, yeah, it's your daughter's senior year. In a year, she won't even need to have anyone to care for her. She'll go off to college, and you won't really need her. It's just this situation where she needs to do whatever she can to connect with. I get that she wants to do whatever she can to connect with her, but Sadie doesn't really seem like she can forgive her. So if she can't, you know, if she doesn't want to connect with her, I think Darlene needs to respect that, and I really like seeing that. But I like that Sadie is trying, definitely. She's trying to connect with her, and I thought that was very good. So back with Alyssa and Jake. Alyssa is getting Jake to do all these ridiculous, things, basically. I don't know how to explain it. It was like really weird positions, just getting him to calm down. It was very funny to watch, and I definitely really enjoyed that, and I thought that was very funny. Meantime, Maddie is very, very drunk. He's very down in his luck. And also, you can see throughout this episode that Maddie really isn't well respected by anyone at this point. People are not enjoying Maddie. They think Jake is this great guy because he had sex with Maddie's girlfriend, and Jake really isn't as popular as Maddie. Now he is. And that very much is probably what would happen in a real school. I mean, if you cheat on someone, yeah, it's wrong, but something like Maddie, who gets all the girls, and then you have Jake, who doesn't, I think they just are happy because Maddie's been getting all these girls, and now he doesn't have one, and I like seeing Maddie vulnerable. I've said it. I like seeing him vulnerable. He is in the position right now where he cannot have a girlfriend. He just can't. He's drunk, he's upset, and it doesn't seem like he's gonna get over this anytime soon. So, Jenna and Tamara are fucked at this point. They are completely stranded in the middle of this store. They have no idea what to do, and they come across to Lacey, and of course, Lacey, being the really great parent she is, actually decides to buy Jen and Tamara liquor. But what I like is that she does actually tell them, look, just don't drive. And I thought that was really great. She does that. That's something I've always loved about Lacey, is that while she isn't your typical parent, she does have limits. There are certain things she obviously doesn't want them to do. She doesn't want them to drink and drive, which that's understandable. Why would you want them to drink and drive? I think that pretty much is pretty self-explanatory as why she doesn't want them to do that. So they get the liquor, and everything seems like it's going to be okay. And then this huge fight goes on between Maddie and Jake, and I thought this was a fantastic scene. I really loved it. Jake's trying to talk to Maddie, and Maddie, again, he's very drunk, but he just doesn't want to talk to Jake. He's telling him that, Jake is an idiot for doing this, and that he is this legend and everything. And to me, it kind of seemed like we were supposed to see Maddie as kind of like he is kind of in this position where he's always kind of been like the big man on campus, and now he's really not, and he's really starting to unravel. It's very interesting to watch, and I really do like seeing that. And Maddie really does have this ego. He's always had it, and it seems like he really does have it here. And it also was very reminiscent of season 2 when Jake and Maddie fought. It was very reminiscent of that, and I really like seeing it. I thought that was a very good scene. I definitely really enjoyed that. I thought that was very good. So they get into this whole fight and everything, and Jenna and Tamara finally do arrive with the alcohol, and basically we see that they, basically the party's pretty much over, they're there, but Maddie basically tells Jenna that he just needs her to drive him home and not say anything, even though, she wants to ask him what's going on. Just, he says, just drive me home, please, don't say anything. And again, as much of a dick as Maddie was being, you really can't blame him. I mean, he wants nothing to do with Jake. He had Gabby first. He has every reason to be mad at Jake. I can totally understand why. I can understand if you guys think he was being a dick. But again, he was drunk. He probably would have said the things he said if he wasn't drunk. I mean, him saying, he's mad fucking McKibben. Yeah, I can understand why he said that. Because he's always kind of been the guy that gets all the girls. And now he's not. And he feels like shit because of it. Because he didn't know what was going on. And Maddie always knows what's going on. He didn't know what was going on here. There was nothing he could do about it. And I really feel that's why Maddie's so upset. Because he wishes he would have known about it, that someone would have told him and that they would have been more upfront, and he thought that he was more in the know about these things when he really wasn't, and it really sucks to see Maddie in the position that he is. It's really sad to watch, I have to say. I definitely hate seeing that. So Jenna decides to drive Maddie home, and I thought that was sweet that Jenna did that. What I like with Jenna is that she's not trying to form a relationship here. She's just trying to help out Maddie. She wants to be a good friend to him. And basically, then we see Jake and Gabby. And again, I like what Gabby says. Jake says to her, hey, look, if the situation's different. Gabby is actually upset with Jake because he said that it was just a one-night stand and that it didn't really mean anything to him. And obviously, Gabby's hurt by this because you can tell that she has genuine feelings for Jake. And that makes sense why. I mean, the reason that her and Jake connected is because he had lost, that college they didn't want to go to, and she was slowly losing Maddie. She could tell something wasn't right between them. So both in the moment, they were both very vulnerable, and now she kind of feels upset because Jake said that it was just a one-night stand, and he tells her that no, he does want something more. But again, I like that she says, look, you have every right, he had every right to be angry at you, you can't say that he didn't, and I like seeing that. Now, Jake and Gabby together, do I kind of like it? Yeah, I do like it. I definitely do like seeing Jake with someone other than Tamara, because Jake and Tamara just, I don't think are a thing anymore, really. Jake and Gabby, however, I really am interested in seeing if they do just something with this. I believe I saw them kiss in the promo last week when they showed, like, the super tease of the season. I believe I did. I don't know if that's a fantasy sequence or not. I always say you can't be sure with, super teases because they're super tease and they can trick you. So I don't know if they're getting these two together, but I honestly would like to see if they do get them together, what they can do with them, because that could be very interesting. So that basically is what happened with that, and then we go back to Sadie, and we get this really great montage, and we see Sadie, she comes home, and she doesn't know where Darlene is, but Darlene left her this note. She says, I've always loved you, I always had, and it says all the stuff that Lissa's mom did for her, and I thought that was very sweet. Again, I love that Darlene is trying to do that, and you really see how much this touches Sadie. Sadie obviously is very touched by this. She really enjoys that her mother took the time and actually wrote that note to her and did something for her. It was very sweet to watch. I like seeing her go out and do something for Sadie. Even though Sadie didn't ask her to do this, she did it anyway, and I thought that was very sweet of her, and I definitely really appreciate that. And then we see Val is nowhere to be found. She's not with Lacey. Lacey's looking for her. She's not there. Will's looking for her at the school. She's not there either. And all she did was write him this note telling her that she has to find herself and that he needs to respect that and that she does love him, but they can't really live together right now. And my question is, where did Val go? I don't know where she went. I don't think she's done with the show. I really don't. I do think we are eventually going to see her again. But I think Valk is kind of going on this quest for self-discovery right now. You know, she's trying to discover where she really is in the world. Because when you're in the situation that Val's been in, where, you know, she's been this guidance counselor and kind of had no life, and all she's really has to talk to Jenna. And I think also she's knowing that she's not going to be able to talk to Jenna for that much longer, because Jenna's going to be gone, and she's not really going to see her anymore. I think that really is what's going through Val's head. She's like, oh shit, a lot of my life's gonna be over. Now I have this romance, but I don't even know if I want to dive into that. And that, I think, is also very interesting, especially for a character like Val, who, again, has a lot of the humor stuff on the show, is actually getting something that's genuinely very thought-provoking. I think is very interesting. I really like they're doing that with her. And then the ending of the episode, we see Maddie, Jenna takes Maddie home, and he's really drunk, and she tells him to just get some sleep, which is probably the best thing he can do, and basically that's how the episode ends. Now, I thought that was a very great way to end the episode. We see next week that because of what Jenna's done, she's become very popular, and I can't wait to see how that goes down. But I thought this episode really has everything I love in an awkward episode. It was funny, it had some really great dramatic moments, it had some really amazing performances as well. I really love what they're doing with this season. I mean, the fact they're giving the small characters more to do is really great. I mean, even Alyssa is getting more to do. Like, she had stuff to do last season. You know, she had the amazing arc last season, but I like they're still including her. They're really not sidelining anyone. I think that definitely is really great that they're doing that. Let's jump into Maddie, though. Maddie, I think, is in the worst position right now. I don't think he's going to really get over this anytime soon. We saw in the Super Tease that this basically leads him to become extremely unpopular, and he's going to have to face that. And I think it's not normal for Maddie. It's not normal for him to be in this vulnerable position. He's always been in the know about things. He's always been popular. He's always had people to rely on, and now he's kind of lost everyone except for Jenna. And I think that's very interesting the way that's going. He still has Sadie, obviously. Sadie and him are still very close, which we haven't seen in a while, but apparently he is taking her to prom, as we see in the promos. But that's going to be interesting to see where that goes. Speaking of Sadie, I really love what they're doing with Darlene as a character. Again, I think Sadie is just, she wants to forgive her, but she just doesn't know if now is the right time. And I like seeing that she's trying to slowly forgive Darlene. She's just not sure when the right time is, and I think that's very well done. I definitely like seeing that. Do Jake and Gabby have a future together? I don't know. I don't know if these two are future together. I don't know if they're gonna get together. I don't know if it was just a one-night stand or not, but I think Gabby could be a good person for Jake right now, because she's telling him that it is his fault. And I like that even though she wants to be with him, she's telling him that, look, this was your fault, and that you have no reason to be upset that they're mad at you. They have every right to be mad at you, and I like that she's doing that. I like that it's not, oh my god, I love you, and I have all the sympathy for you. No, she has no sympathy for him, because they did it. She knows what they did was wrong, and I like that. It's a very mature story, and they're handling it in a very mature way, and I really like the way they're doing that. Where did Val go? I don't know. I think like I said, she's trying to discover herself, and it's kind of going on this quest of self-discovery. That's going to be very interesting to see where that goes. But does she really have a future with Will? I honestly don't know what's going to happen between her and Will. Will obviously does care about her, and I think he really does love her. You can tell by this episode, he really does love her. He wants to be with her. He sees something in her, but I just don't know if she feels this is really going to work out for her. I think she kind of feels like her whole life is just slipping away. This girl that she's always talked to and has always been sort of like a second mother to, even though Lacey's been there, she's kind of always been there for Jenna, and she knows that she's not really going to be there for her anymore. It's a very tough decision for her, and I really feel that's what's going through Val's head. So that's going to be interesting to see where that goes. And, but yeah, guys, overall, really love this episode. Another really great episode. It was very funny. I'm really loving this season so far. I really like the direction they're going with it, I have to say. I thought it was definitely a very great episode. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. What do you guys think of the season so far? I'd love to know your thoughts on it. That's basically my review. Hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in my next video, which will be for a movie review, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.